Last night, something happened in the unseen world. While your body rested, your soul stood between two realms. The physical you may have been asleep, but the spiritual you, the deeper part of your being, was under protection. Because something was trying to reach you, something not from light. And Archangel Michael stepped forward. Not every night is quiet. Some nights, the war spills closer than you realize. And when it does, heaven doesn't wait for your permission to act. It simply moves to protect what is marked as sacred. You. There are forces that do not want you to awaken. Forces that whisper in your sleep, hoping your spirit will bend. But last night, before the whisper reached you, before the shadow stepped closer, Archangel Michael stood between you and that force. He did not come gently. He came with fire in his eyes and divine authority in his voice. Because something tried to speak into your destiny, and Michael said, "Not tonight." You may have felt it, a strange dream, a jolt awake, a heavy energy in your room. Or maybe you felt nothing at all, and that's the miracle. You were shielded, and the battle was won without your awareness because love works like that. Protection doesn't always ask to be seen. It just does what's needed and disappears before sunrise. But Archangel Michael wants you to know what happened, because you need to understand what you're carrying. You're not just someone walking through life. You're someone the heavens have invested in. Someone who carries light, purpose, and a calling that threatens darkness itself. And that calling? It's awakening now. That's why you've been under pressure. Why certain people have been falling away. Why some days feel like internal chaos even when nothing is wrong outside. The spiritual war isn't always outside of you. Sometimes it's in your mind. And when the enemy can't destroy your path, it tries to distract your thoughts. Michael says, "You've been too close to breakthrough. That's why the battle came closer." But it didn't win. And here you are, awake, listening, aligned. That is not an accident. The demon that came last night didn't want your physical body. It wanted your permission. Permission to enter through fear, self-doubt, guilt. It looked for an open wound, a moment of weakness. But instead it met resistance. Not from you. From the angel who walks beside you. The one who knows your name in the divine archives. Archangel Michael doesn't guard everyone the same. But for those who carry divine purpose, his sword is sharper, his presence is more immediate. And last night it was your name he responded to. You may be wondering, why now? Why me? Why would something dark target me? Because you're not who you used to be. You've started healing. You've started choosing peace over chaos. You've started praying without needing proof. That shift in you, it caused a ripple in the spirit world. It told the dark realm that you're no longer asleep. And when a soul wakes up, all of heaven leans in, and all of hell notices. But do not fear, because while the enemy observes your awakening, the angels surround it. Your name is known in heaven. And last night's fight was not about fear. It was about your future. There is something coming, something your soul has been prepared for. A chapter where you step fully into your authority. A moment when you stop second-guessing the divine signs and start walking in them. And that moment, it's already unfolding. But it can't arrive through a cluttered spirit. So the battle you didn't see, the one Michael fought, wasn't just protection. It was preparation. It was clearing the energy that didn't belong to you. Old fear, ancient guilt, residual grief. It had to be cut off. That's why you may feel lighter today without knowing why, or more tired, because the soul just went through a reset. Archangel Michael wants you to rest without fear tonight, because he's still near, watching, guarding, not because you're weak, but because you're important. You may notice certain people start pulling away after today. That's also protection. Some of them were spiritual leaks. Unaware perhaps, but draining nonetheless. The angelic realm is not here to entertain your comfort. It's here to protect your calling. and your calling has grown louder. Archangel Michael says, "You are no longer hidden in the spirit realm. You've been marked with divine clarity, and now you must walk differently." That means trusting your intuition more, moving slower, but deeper, listening when your spirit feels off, even if nothing logical is wrong. It means praying not just to be protected, but to be aligned. Because the real miracle isn't that you were saved from something dark last night. The miracle is that you're being saved into something divine. The timing of this message? It's not random. The person who sent it? Not coincidence. The platform you're seeing it on? It's just a tool. The truth is, heaven has been trying to reach you, and now you're finally listening. Take this moment seriously, not with fear, but with awe. Because when Archangel Michael speaks, it is not to alarm, it is to awaken. And now that your soul is aware, truly aware, the shift begins to deepen. Things that once held emotional power over you will start to feel lighter. Old patterns may surface briefly, not to torment you, but to give you one last chance to choose differently. Because when an angelic battle has already been fought on your behalf, the only thing left is your agreement with the healing. You see, not all battles are meant for you to fight. Some are fought entirely in the spiritual dimension, in silence, in shadows, in sleep, where angels wield light against forces that never show their face. But the impact of those battles, you feel them. In the morning peace you can't explain, in the random burst of joy after days of anxiety, in the way a heaviness seems to lift even though nothing changed externally. That's not coincidence, that's aftermath, the echo of victory. Archangel Michael wants you to know what has been cleared from your path. There was a person, perhaps close to you, who unknowingly carried darkness. Their presence wasn't always toxic, but something about them became a channel, a spiritual opening for confusion, distraction, or emotional sabotage. You may not have seen it clearly before, but that's changing now. You'll begin to feel the dissonance. You'll begin to sense what's no longer aligned. That's not judgment. That's discernment. And Michael is increasing it in you now. Why? Because your purpose requires it. The time is coming when you'll be asked to move differently, not just believe in divine guidance, but walk it out. You'll be nudged to take new paths, release old connections, or say yes to something that scares you, but excites your soul. And when that moment comes, you'll remember this message. You'll remember that the devil tried to get to you in a dream, and heaven responded before you could even pray. You'll remember that divine love is not passive. It is protective, proactive, and always ahead of danger. You'll remember that your name was spoken in a realm where fear cannot exist. Let that sink in. Your name was worth defending in heaven. And if heaven thinks you're worth fighting for, maybe it's time you believe that too. There's a reason you're being called higher. A reason your heart doesn't settle for shallow conversations anymore. A reason distractions feel heavier, louder, more unbearable than they used to. It's not that life is worse, it's that you're more awake. Archangel Michael says, the moment you chose alignment, the heavens responded with protection. Now it's your turn, not to be perfect, not to have all the answers, but to stay aware, to protect your light the same way heaven protects you. That means saying no when peace is at stake. That means honoring your rest. That means trusting when your body says, this doesn't feel safe, even if your mind can't explain it. Your intuition isn't paranoia, it's prophecy in disguise. And prophecy is often subtle. It doesn't shout, it whispers, just like the warnings that come in dreams, just like the signs you keep seeing, just like this very message. Michael wants you to understand. The battle last night wasn't just about danger, it was about direction. You're being redirected towards something more aligned, more sacred, and more powerful than what you've settled for. And yes, there will be resistance, not from demons anymore. That was already handled. But from your own mind, from the fear of stepping into unknown territory, from the old storylines that say, who am I to do this? You are the one they tried to stop. You are the one Michael defended. You are the one God is calling, not later. Now. So now, beloved soul, the question is no longer, why is this happening to me? The real question is, why was I chosen to survive it? Because what you've endured, spiritually, emotionally, even physically, wasn't meant to destroy you. It was a purification, a sacred stripping away of what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. And last night's divine intervention? It was the final confirmation. You've crossed a spiritual threshold. You're no longer operating on old timelines. What used to be your normal, constant fear, self-doubt, toxic attachments, it doesn't fit anymore. And when things don't fit, they fall away. Not as punishment, but as prophecy being fulfilled. Archangel Michael knows your future, and because of that, he fought for your present. The darkness that approached you wasn't random. It was familiar energy disguised in new form. Perhaps a repeating emotional cycle, an old temptation, or a spiritual inheritance from your bloodline that hasn't been healed. That's what tried to touch you in the night. But here's the truth. The devil doesn't waste energy on souls without purpose. You were targeted because you're chosen, because your light is louder now. And Michael intervened because your time is too near to be stolen. What's coming into your life next requires your full attention, your full energy, your full heart. And heaven couldn't allow that to be compromised. You may not realize it yet, but this message is the gateway, the pivot point where you stop walking in fear and begin walking in fire, the fire of purpose, passion, and divine clarity. You'll notice it in the days to come, a sharpening of your inner voice. You'll see more signs, not just angel numbers, but divine patterns, timely messages, unexplainable protection, people entering your life with answers you didn't ask for, dreams that feel like they carry more weight. Archangel Michael says, do not doubt what feels real, even if the world calls it imagination. Your soul recognizes truth before your mind can explain it. This battle, this invisible war that was fought on your behalf, is now sealed, and you must live as someone who has been delivered, not as a victim, not as someone barely surviving, but as someone anointed, someone protected by celestial assignment. Even your presence in this world is a form of resistance to darkness, because every time you speak love where hate once lived, every time you bring peace into chaos, every time you choose forgiveness instead of revenge, you echo the same light that Archangel Michael carries into battle. And that, dear soul, makes you a living instrument of heaven. This isn't just about your life. It's about the ripple effect your energy creates in the people you encounter. You don't always see the impact, but Michael does. That's why he guards you so fiercely. That's why last night wasn't allowed to take you. You are protected because you're carrying a frequency the world desperately needs. So take a moment now, not just to reflect, but to realign. Ask yourself, what am I ready to let go of? What cycle am I finally ready to break? And most importantly, what truth am I now ready to walk in? Because once a demon is defeated on your behalf, you owe it to yourself not to return to what invited it. You owe it to the angels who fought for you, to now fight for your own peace, your own alignment, your own evolution. This is the sacred responsibility that comes with divine intervention. Not fear, not heaviness, but a deeper reverence for your own path. You are not just someone passing through this life unnoticed. You are watched over, spoken for, and spiritually guarded because there is something within you that must be fulfilled. Archangel Michael doesn't just fight random battles. He is assigned where purpose lives. He is drawn to those who carry sacred contracts with the divine. That includes you, and whether you realize it or not, that assignment was etched in the heavens long before your current struggles ever began. Now that you've been protected in silence, heaven is asking you to speak with intention, to move through this world as someone who knows they are covered, not by ego, not by human strength, but by spiritual authority. You will begin to sense this new layer of your identity unfold slowly. It might begin as an inner calm during a storm, or a strange knowing about someone's true intentions without evidence. It might feel like a sudden shift, Where once you tolerated dysfunction, now your spirit rejects it entirely. This is the recalibration of your divine boundaries. This is what happens when heaven says, "No more interference." Archangel Michael says, "You are no longer allowed to carry energy that was never yours." That includes guilt. That includes shame. That includes battles from your past that you've already outgrown. Let that sink in. You are not being asked to fight anymore. You are being asked to accept the victory that already happened. And that victory wasn't just for protection. It was also a message. A message that you are no longer invisible in the spiritual realm. That your presence here is not small. That your survival wasn't luck. It was prophecy. When you wake up each day, remember this truth. You were preserved because someone in this world still needs your light, still needs your words, still needs your story. And heaven is determined to see that through. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are arriving exactly on time for the season that your soul has been prepared for. So what comes next? Stillness, listening, receiving. Not everything needs to be figured out right now. The spiritual war already cleared much of what was blocking you. Now the work is different. Now it's about integration, about allowing yourself to feel safe in a peace you didn't earn, but were gifted. And it is a gift, because when Archangel Michael fights for someone, it's not because they're weak, it's because they're chosen. Let that truth settle into your bones. You are chosen. And now, you must choose too. Choose peace. Choose spiritual alignment. Choose to release what heaven already cut off. Choose to rise, not out of pride, but out of knowing. Before you go, know this. You didn't find this message. This message found you. Heaven arranged this moment, this timing, this exact vibration, because something needed to reach your soul before another night passed. Not to scare you, but to remind you that you are never left unguarded. If this message stirred something inside you, if it spoke directly into something you've been feeling but couldn't explain, then it wasn't just a video. It was a divine confirmation. And if you feel called to support the light that continues bringing messages like this into the world, your gesture matters more than you know. When you send a super thanks, you are not just giving support. You're helping this sacred work reach more souls who are silently crying for guidance just like you once were. And if your heart says yes, even with a small gesture, heaven sees it. The ripple of your kindness travels further than you imagine. Thank you for allowing this space to be part of your journey. Thank you for protecting your peace. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. We'll meet again when the divine has something more to say. Until then, stay covered, stay aligned, and stay awake.